A question back to DEC. Is the DEC seeking or going to be granted enforcement authority by the legislature for regulating this program?
Well, we keep hearing about this from the community, so I think the answer to that question is that our authorities are granted to us by the legislature. So if the legislature determines that they want to give us that authority to do what most people are talking about is to have administrative penalties for air quality, that's something that the legislature would need to take action on. In the interim, DEC will be doing compliance work. We will use the tools that we have. We do have tools to do compliance. We can use civil remedies. We have a number of mechanisms that we can use. Are they as efficient as perhaps administrative penalty authority? No, but we do have methods to do that. That's what we'll use until and unless the legislature grants us that authority, and that's not something that's within my power to obtain. That's with with our elected officials.
Okay, thank you. Okay, there's very different questions. One of the audience asks, essentially, we've had something in the magnitude of 10 million or more spent on the wood stove change-out program. Will people at some point be compensated for the illnesses caused or exacerbated by very poor air quality in this area?
That is the societal cost of air pollution. I think when you do, when there's poor burning practices in air pollution, the cost of healthcare way outweighs what you might end up, if you have had a ED visit or a urgent care visit, how much it just magnifies very quickly and out of control. So that is a cost that the people who suffer through that do bear. I don't have a very good answer to that. That's what we're trying to minimize is the exposure to that kind of environmental quality, poor environmental quality, and the exposure and the length at which you're exposed. So I don't have an answer to whether we have ever come across a community which asks for compensation back for the health effects that have happened. It's a good question. Something that I will go back and ask within EPA to understand more if it's happened before. See, any things?
Okay. Thank you. And cycling back to Alice again, the question is, has ADEC asked the legislature for citation authority? And if not, why not?
So the state has not brought forth a bill asking for that authority, not in recent years. I can't speak to historically why or why not why that authority was or wasn't granted in the past. There hasn't been any recent legislation. That would have to be advanced by the governor and or a legislator. So I can't really speak very much to that other than to say that I'm not aware of any legislation that's been proposed.
I think the question was, has the agency asked the legislature to do that? I don't even know if that's possible.
It would go through the governor's office.
Okay. All right. Next question. In this regards, new buildings that are being constructed as we speak in our community, are they allowed to burn wood or install other solid fuel burning devices and add to the current problem?
Can you repeat the question?
We have new buildings going up in our community that are currently being allowed to burn wood or have other solid fuel burning devices and add to the current problem. Is that still being allowed, essentially?
So I think if I understand, the question is this installation of solid fuel fired devices in new construction, if I'm understanding the question. So that is something that we were looking at. I believe we looked at inside this current air quality plan that's under deliberation. I believe that we proposed, and somebody can correct me from my staff if I'm wrong, I believe that one of the proposals was that at a minimum there would be no new construction that would have solid fuel fired as the sole source of heat. So it would still be allowed as a supplemental source of heat, but not a unit, not as a sole source of heat. I think there was a minor exception for some small cabins on large lots. A small cabin on a large lot. So that's what the proposal is at this point that we had put forward.
So the question is, this is related to fuel oil burning. Does the burning of home heating oil cause the formation of PM 2.5 particles in the non-attainment area? And related to that, why must the burning of home heating oil be regulated?
So the question surrounding home heating oil is that when we, as I said earlier, anything we burn in our heaters, in our cars, anything we combust can produce fine particles. In the case of home heating, it does produce fine particles. It is a source of fine particles. It's also a potential source of, sulfur dioxide emissions, and other precursor pollutants. So the reason that we have to look at home heating from fuel oil is that it is a source. It's also a source that has been controlled in other areas, and under the serious air quality planning requirements, we have to look at everything that has been done in every community across the country that's also dealt with PM fine particulate issues over the years. So that was a control strategy that we needed to take a look at. I think, and my staff can correct me if I'm wrong, about 15 to 20% of the particles that we see on our monitors are the result of sulfur. So sulfur sulfur dioxide is a precursor pollutant that we have to address in our air quality plan that EPA requires us to address. And so that's why we've been looking at home heating as a source and also as for potential control. And in communities, I think in the Northeast, primarily, they are using very low sulfur content fuel for home heating fuel at 15 part per million sulfur. We looked at that. We also looked at going to diesel number 1 in this plan. So those are the things that we proposed, and are obviously we took a lot of comment on that and are considering those comments. But ultimately, the reason that we're looking at it is because not only does it emit direct particles, not at the same level as, say, a wood burning unit does, but also because it is a sulfur dioxide emission source. And Krishna might have more to say about that too.
No, I think just want to echo what you said. It's a result of sulfur dioxide in itself. It's a pollutant. It has its own standard, but in this case, it's more of how it contributes to particular matter formation in this environment. So that's how so all the precursors all the chemicals that form particles that are significant in the community need to be looked at, and that's why the state is required to look at it.